Do you struggle to use one of these, the metronome? Well, if so, this video is for you. I'm going to walk you through some steps today that are going to make using this invaluable tool more straightforward. But first of all, you've got to get into the right mindset. If you tell yourself you can't play with the metronome, well, guess what? Your subconscious mind is a very powerful thing, and it will ensure that it carries out your wishes. So the first thing you've got to do is rephrase those words and tell yourself you can play with the metronome. When you begin to start playing with the metronome, it's important to start with baby steps, especially if you find it difficult. So the first thing that I suggest that you do is you set the metronome on a slow speed. We're going to use the number 60. So we're going to start by saying a word to each click of the metronome. Now I personally like to use the word tea, but you could use the word walk or any other word that has just one syllable. So I'm going to set the metronome off, and we're just going to say that word to each click. So walk, 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 walk. The next step is, can we add a clap and say the word walk? So walk, 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 walk. Yay, you're getting the hang of this. So the next stage is to play one note per click on your instrument. And today I'm choosing the piano. So let's set the metronome going. So we can start by saying that T, 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 and then choose one note. You can say the word T, 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 if it helps. When you start to feel more confident, you can start to change notes. Maybe try a scale as follows. You can repeat that method with lots of different rhythms. So for example, for quavers, I like to use the word coffee. So you would subdivide the click on the metronome into 2 syllables as follows. Coffee, 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 coffee. Then you could try playing the scale, but this time in quavers. Coffee, 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 coffee. Now when it comes to using the metronome during our practice, I'm always telling my students that if you can't say it, you can't play it. So we're going to take a look at the first few bars of Circus Polka. Now the rhythm here in the left hand is coffee, 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 coffee. But in the right hand, we've got this dotted quaver, semiquaver. Now there's lots of ways you could count this. Some people like to say one E and A. I just like to stick with words, and I use the word one A or doobie. So let's have a look at the right hand of Circus Polka. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to say the rhythm to the metronome, and I'm just keeping it on the slow speed of 60. So the rhythm would go one a coffee, coffee, one a coffee, coffee, one a coffee, coffee. The next thing I do is, just like we were doing before, I'm going to play that rhythm on one note. So here we go. One a coffee, coffee, one a coffee, coffee. And you can see that the first one wasn't absolutely in time, but as I did the repeats, it got better and better. Now we can try and add the left hand. So the left hand is just coffee, coffee. So you could repeat the steps. Maybe this time I'm going to clap that rhythm. Coffee, 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 coffee. Then I'm going to try and play it on one note. And then I'm going to play it with the right notes. difficulties come when we try and put the hands together. Sometimes you can do it straight away, as in one not fit, and sometimes we can't quite get it to fit. Now, if that's the case, what I suggest you do is you divide your beats into quavers. So instead of having the metronome on 60, if you double it and put it on 120, you'll get the quaver beat. So now we've got our metronome set at 120 for a quaver beat. So that will be one note per click in the left hand, like follows. Now we can try and put the right hand together with that. And of course, if that's too fast, you can slow the metronome down. Or of course you could speed it up. Now when you get more confident, and when you can play it at, say, just over 120, you could then half the metronome and try and play it again in crotchets. So let's try that again in crotchets. And you can then go on to the second bar and do the same thing. So the second bar is coffee, tea, coffee, tea. So again, you might want to clap that rhythm with the metronome and then play it on one note and then put the right notes to the rhythm with the metronome. So I'm going to play you the first two bars now with my metronome set at 60. So I hope that helps, and I hope you get to grips with your metronome today, and it's going to help your practice.